inside the 60-minute story about young adult author Jon Green.
Tuesday. It's Question Tuesday, the day that I answer real questions from real nerd fighters. Let's get right to it. Do rich people...
Jon, you interviewed the author and YouTube star Jon Green for 60 Minutes. For those who religiously watch Jon Green's videos, are they going to see a different side of him in this 60 Minutes interview?
That's interesting. I think people that watch his videos will see a different side of him. This is Jon Green talking about Jon Green, which is something, by his own admission, he doesn't necessarily do much of.
Margaret? Okay, anytime you're ready.
We're rolling?
Mm-hmm.
Usually I have to clap it off, guys. You sure you don't want me to clap it off?
Right. He's very much about embracing vulnerability, starting with himself. He wrote a whole book about his own OCD.
I wanted to try to find some kind of direct expression for it if I could, so that I could show myself and the people I love in my own life, not just what this feels like and not just how scary it can feel. I wanted to try to give people a glimpse of what it is.
Ultimately, you happy you put yourself out there like that?
I am. I really wanted to write this book, and I knew...
It was interesting because he was really forthcoming, but the one thing where he just said, listen, I'll talk about anything, just I can't talk more about that, were the specifics of his OCD. You mentioned as a young boy you worried about your food a lot.
Yeah.
What specifically?
I can't really talk about the specifics of it because I get squirrely.
Can I ask, what do you mean by that?
Because it's ongoing. So it's not like, because it's not a dragon that I slayed. It's just it feels very dangerous to talk about it. It almost feels like if I start talking about it, then it might become real.
In his interview with you, he talks about how fascinated he is by this critical stage of development, the teen years.
I think we need to listen to young people. I think we need to be inspired by their idealism and their optimism and their belief that the world can be better.
I have to bring out Jon Green to read from his best-selling book, The Fault in Our Stars!
I don't think he's in any great rush to leave this audience. I feel like he feels like he's got his sweet spot. He just has a gift for connecting with adolescents. He's got it, and he's got it naturally.
You remember your first love because they prove to you that you can love and be loved.
It's harder than ever for authors to sort of break through. And you write these books, and it's very hard to get people to buy your book.
Right.
Usually you go down into a cave and you write your book and you pop up for 6 weeks to go on a book tour. That's not what Jon Green does at all.
He stays in touch.
He stays in touch. He builds audience. If they want to see you in YouTube Bites, you're there.
Like for the last 2,000 days or so, I've been trying to write this book. And
if they want to listen to you on a podcast, you're there.
This first question comes from Tenley, who writes, Dear Jon and Hank.
If they want to read your 80,000 word book, you're there too.
I think he understands young adults on a level that a lot of writers don't quite get.
It's a good business story, really.
It's a great business story.
Hi, everybody.
His business model has been so successful.
I think he would bristle at calling it a business model because he would just say, listen, I'm just being me here.
We can't take pictures. I'm really sorry about that. It's not personal. It's because I have OCD and I don't want to touch you, which isn't about you.
There's just this honesty, and it's an honesty with himself. It's an honesty, I'm okay being vulnerable.
Did you see that during the interview?
Yeah. I mean, there was a real conversation with a real person. I'm not sure he has another gear. I'm not sure he's capable of messaging. I mean, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, they can see through that.
How are you? I'm doing awesome.
Teenagers have a very finely tuned BS meter. What's a nerd fighter?
A nerd fighter is a person who fights for nerds.
I'm not against nerds.
No.
These are empowered nerds.
Yeah, obviously we're pro-nerd.
There's some new terms in this story. Phrases like decreasing world suck and increasing awesome.
That's vintage Jon Green right there. Think about how well that phrase would echo with a teenager. So decrease world suck is basically don't be a jerk. It's basically Google's, it's don't be evil, mean people suck.
We also hear Jon Green and his brother Hank talk about DFTBA.
DFTBA. Okay. It's an initialism that stands for don't forget to be awesome.
Yes, we are trying to remind ourselves to, when possible, be more awesome.
He knows that a lot of the people that relate to him are sort of kids on the margins. You don't have to tell the captain of the football team, don't forget to be awesome. I think they know.
Everybody thinks
their
he's
audience.
awesome.
Everyone thinks he's awesome already, and he thinks he's awesome already.
Welcome to Fitness for Nerds. I am your host and nerd, Jon Green. One more.
It's sort of unimpeachable. You would have to look really hard to find a reason not to like this guy and what he's doing.